Matt, Riders Republic, aka Steep 2. It's not actually Steep 2, but it may as well be.
Yeah.
It's out today, and we spent the day, I spent the day just capturing a shitload of footage to do a comparison. So we're going to rattle through everything. And I say rattle through, we've got like 12 minutes. So we're going to get the magnifying glass out, and we're going to look at... I keep going to say Steep.
You went to go say Steep 2, I heard you.
I know, yeah. Riders Republic. And as we always do, mate, we kick things off with the frame rate. And we're going to rattle through this just for the simple fact is PS4, Xbox One S, rock solid. 30 across the board.
Okay.
No issues. I had a few issues in the map, but when I was actually doing races and stuff, I didn't notice any frame rate issues. So, yeah. And here we have the mid-gen. We got the One X and the PS4 Pro.
Okay.
Again, rock solid 30. So, like I said, rattling through it, mate, because really, there are no issues.
Not much to talk about there, is it? If it's,
no,
rock solid.
Not that I've come across anyway. And of course, the next-gen consoles, all rock solid 60, which in a game like this, I think is actually great.
Yeah.
Because it's always kind of fast-paced.
Series S as well, we've seen that not hit 60 in other games, so that's pretty good.
Literally the last one, right? I think they patched it as well after we did the last video. But yeah, excuse the overlapping characters because obviously it's an online world and everybody just spawns in at the same spawn point. But as we can see, I'll be honest, it's not a great looking game across the board. I mean, it looks good on the Series X and the PS5 Pro, but nothing that will blow you away.
No, it looks fairly crisp, but not I guess photorealistic, is it? There's sort of a style going on there.
It's a bit clunky,
yeah.
I'll be honest. What I will say, though, is if there's any discrepancy in colour and stuff like that, it was impossible to get the weather spot on. It was impossible to get the time of day right. So I had to do it as good as I can. So focus more on the actual textures and stuff like that and the individual assets in the shot as opposed to which has got a better draw distance because as we'll see, I'll go on about that in a minute. As you can see, going across, the Series S looks okay. I think in this case the One X does look better than the Series S, but obviously Series S has the 60 FPS.
Yes, yeah.
I do think that the PlayStation versions are a little bit darker, but I'm not sure whether that was the time of day.
It's difficult to
shadows and
tell
stuff.
with those sort of things, isn't it? But
yeah.
It looks very nice on PS5. It does look very crisp. It's not, like you say, it's not mind-blowing, but that real crisp resolution is nice.
Yeah. I genuinely hate night day cycles for these videos.
Yeah, they're a pain in your ass, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Because I thought this was going to be an easy video because it's a cross save, so I could literally load my Xbox save up on the PlayStation and then just use all the fast travel points that I unlocked. But yeah, apparently not.
Series S, you're right, looks a little bit not quite as crisp as the Pro and the One X, but obviously you got double the frame rate there. So
exactly. And the Series X here, I'm not sure whether it's a style choice, but it does look a little bit lighter, and the PlayStation looks a little bit darker. But I don't want to put.
But the PlayStation almost looks like a brighter sunshine, doesn't it? The shadows are different and stuff like that. So yeah, it's hard to tell.
Exactly, and I couldn't work it out, because it depends on the clouds and it depends on the weather, and it depends on the time of day. And I tried to do it, but it was just I've actually got the Series S and the Xbox ones lined up pretty perfectly there, but and the PlayStation ones weirdly, but just not the PS4 and the One S. But I mean, yeah, it's I've got to be honest. I looked at it and I'm like, this doesn't look next gen. Obviously, it's all about the frame rate with this game. It's
I was about to say because you 60 player races you're having to do at some of these times, so you've got to assume it's been made, to be able to accommodate that without dropping any frames. Yeah,
the mass races are. So I think the 64 on next gen and 32 on current gen. And to be honest, this is all about the mass races for me. They are a phenomenal addition to the. I want to say franchise, but I guess.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because it's the same developer, right, who made Steep, and it's a lot of the same stuff that was in Steep. But they've obviously
the same controls.
Yeah, they've obviously just gone for we're going to name this differently. So technically, this is a different franchise. But anyone who loved Steep, Riders Republic is essentially a sequel, right?
Yeah, for me, and I loved Steep, to be honest. So we'll see in this now what I was talking about in terms of the draw distance and stuff like that. But again, I don't know whether this is down to the time of day stuff or whether it's down to the weather or whether it's down to the machines. But the Series X obviously looks a little bit cloudier. and I don't know like the reason for that. But I genuinely just think it is weather, and like I got unlucky with the time of day.
Yeah.
But like the PS4, there is no draw distance there. You can barely see anything. And obviously the Pro, you see the cliffs in the back.
Yeah, you got a little bit more of that there, don't you? And then PS5, same again. More draw distance. Yeah,
but then you go back to the X and see what I mean by, I think the mistiness is just the time of day.
Yeah, it does seem that way. Yeah, it's a weird one to do, isn't it? In terms of looking at different ones, because you're right, it's not the most mind-blowing looking game of all time, but am I right in saying, is it a big open world, or is it sort of split up in
massive
sections?
open world.
Okay.
Yeah, no, so it's like pretty much the whole game's open from the off, so you can go anywhere. I will say though that the next gen versions, like when we talk about fast travel, they are fast travels.
Oh wow.
Like, you literally click on it on the map and you spawn, whereas there's a little bit of a load time on the last gen.
It's a nice little thing that I've sort of stopped noticing now. I don't know if you have, because I mostly play on the next gen consoles, and every time now and again you go back, I'm like, Jesus Christ, this takes a while. Like,
yeah, so because I'm doing these side by side, console after console, I notice it a lot. But I don't notice load times in next gen games, to be honest. I'm like, oh, there we go, boom, there we go.
Yeah.
But I only notice how good the new consoles are when I go back and do these comparison videos. And yeah, it's great. And I think at one of these, literally a mass race spawned. So I think it's one of the PlayStation ones. Yeah, here it is, the PS5. Look at everybody kind of spawning in and heading across to the mass race, which you can just see on the left of the PS5 screen. Like everyone's literally just racing over there to get involved. But yeah, I mean the two versions, two next gen versions, they look decent. But I mean, yeah, like Assassin's Creed Valhalla was an open world game, and that looked really crisp.
Yeah, I'm guessing it doesn't need to be a priority for this, though, does it? Because obviously, most of the time you're moving at a very fast pace.
Yeah.
Here, so I guess with like the scenery whipping past you, it'd almost be a waste to try and go for higher fidelity at the cost of frame rate and performance and stuff like that, when there must be so many variables with so many players online. I mean, I think that's you got to consider that, don't you? There's lots of players spawning in, lots of players sort of around you and doing their own thing as well. Like, that's quite different to something like Assassin's Creed Valhalla or Far Cry, which we did recently.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I didn't really take that into account when I was just talking about it, but it is a pretty much open, online, persistent experience where like you'll just be doing races and there'll be other dudes just doing collectibles and literally just dotted all over the place. So yeah, I guess when you take that into account, it kind of makes sense. But again, you see on this shot, like it's different shot, different time of day.
Yeah.
But still, the draw distance is obviously a lot clearer on a PS5. But again, I don't know whether that's the weather, don't know whether that's the time of day or whatever. But yeah, this shot, I had an absolute nightmare getting it right. So I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to go with what I can get. But because honestly, like the clouds move quickly, the shadows move so quick. So yeah, just focus on the details specifically on this. Obviously, the trees, we love a good bush on this channel, and the trees, just the shrubbery,
and
actually
all the
just the signpost. Yeah, love a bit of foliage, but even like the signposts, like you can see that as you go up the different versions, how they get more crisp and so, and then just like the amount of people you can just see popping in and out of my shop is a nightmare to capture.
Yeah, and that's sort of the point in the game, isn't it? It's just people constantly coming in and out. Do you think, because obviously we're playing a lot of this as well, do you think it looks better in motion as well than it does sort of when you stood still?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because you don't it's like we'll do Forza I think next week.
Yeah.
Forza's going to be like an odd one, because Forza, when it moves fast, but when you stop still, everything looks really crisp. Whereas this is you've very rarely stood around.
Yeah.
Like literally at the top of like start lines and that's it, and finish lines.
Yeah.
The rest of the time you're always on the move. You're changing into snowmobiles and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean you don't really stand still in this game. So,
yeah, and you can see loads of obviously players are active miles away from you there. I can see little dots just like on the horizon and stuff like that. So there must be so much that the game is keeping track of at any one time.
Sure. I'm not sure how much of that is AI and how much of that is like actual players.
Got you. Okay.
I don't know how it works like that, because some of them are yellow dots and like figures, and some of them are white little icons. So I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, like, I mean, if you get it on last gen, you're still going to have fun. But obviously, the big experience is the 60 FPS in a game like this that moves at an incredible pace.
Yeah,
you're moving
100%.
like 270 mile an hour when you're in there. Because obviously, you can fly as well. In this, you've got the rocket-powered like wingsuits, effectively. So yeah, you don't really stop and take stock of the environment.
How's like the snow deformation and stuff like that as well? Because obviously Steep did that really nicely.
Yeah, it's the same, to be honest, mate. It's good. Yeah, there's not a lot going on now because I managed to pick the one spot in the top of the mountains when no one was around. I think you just see one guy in the PS5 version fly across.
but
yeah,
I mean sorry,
it's
go
all
on.
about the 60 FPS.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the kind of point I was just trying to make. And like, I mean, you're going to get a good experience, but don't expect to be blown away, unfortunately. Well, I didn't know what to expect because this is the first kind of proper online open world game, so I guess you've got to take that into consideration when you're thinking about this kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a different sort of game, isn't it? And like you say, 60 FPS is a big deal for this sort of game, and you're not getting that anywhere else but PS5 and Series X. So you got to assume they had to.
Matt, and the Series S. Don't forget the Series S.
And the Series S, sorry. Yeah, no, that is on me. In my head, I'm so used to it not normally doing that. Yeah. So you get in the next gen consoles is where you get in that 60 FPS, and that's the important thing.
Yeah. And now look at this. This is on the PS5, and it looks super slick when you're racing down at 95 kilometers an hour. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, Matt. The game is out now. Yeah, we'll be back next week. We're doing Forza 100% next week. So yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, folks. And we'll see you next time. Cheers, folks. Goodbye.
Bye.